Alex. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, Mohammed. Great to see you again. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I will start by that this is our second podcast. So we will going to discuss about your platform as you are building a platform for people of Pakistan so that we can highlight the talent here. So my first question would be how people of Pakistan can do their profile and do networking to get those remote jobs.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna want to back up one step and just briefly address like what the whole idea is, because I think the last time we talked, I gave you a little overview, but it's evolved a lot since then. So I'll try and do that, and then we can go from there. So the platform we launched is called Pak Talent. That's what it will be called. Right now, we're changing the domain name. So it's right now it's actually accessible at remotepakistan.softer.app, which we're using Softer, which is a no-code platform. But we have a lot of other things we're doing to help people get remote jobs. So I want to touch on each of these quickly, right? Because the mission of the overall company, right, we're working on incorporating in the United States right now, actually, is to help people from Pakistan to get remote jobs in two primary ways. So the first is to educate and provide information for people on the best approach or approaches, because there's often a couple different ways of getting a remote job. And that doesn't just include our platform. It also includes them applying themselves, them building up their own personal brand, their own network, right? That part, that's actually where I've been putting the most work, even well before Pack Talent came into being. And it's something that I am personally passionate about because I was a teacher, right? So I've created a lot of courses and content in my lifetime. The second part is the Pack Talent Platform, and that's what you were talking about a moment ago. So Pack Talent as a platform is like a little bit like if someone wanted to go on LinkedIn and search for a candidate, but LinkedIn has a product, it's called LinkedIn Hiring. It's super expensive, right? It's like for a recruiter, I think it's $300 a month, so a lot of money. And a lot of these early stage remote startups we want to work with that are from the US, from Europe, honestly from everywhere in the world, Mohammed, because I think with remote, there's no reason you have to be, right, from those continents. It's just that's where people know people from. But me personally, I've always worked for Chinese companies, which is a bit funny. This platform is basically a place for recruiters to go and search and look for remote talent, and then they at the process as it works right now, which I can maybe even show you in a second, but is they would type in their requirements and search, or they'd use the filters that are there. They'd find profiles, and then the candidates who submitted the profiles, which happens on a separate website, they would show up in the search, and then the company would be able to contact this person. If they contact them, the contact will actually come to us. And the reason we do this is because we want to make sure that this company is a good company. There's a lot of companies out there that, yeah, and we're still learning, right? We're new. So to be transparent, we're new. We don't, I have some hiring experience for sure, but I don't have experience dealing with multiple companies. So I want to make sure I'm learning as well. And then the other side of it is that we want to make sure it's a good fit. If it's a good fit, which we can assume most of the time it is, then we will contact the candidate and make the bridge between the two. And the platform is free for companies right now because everything is so new. On the other hand, now increasingly what my business partner and I are trying to do is we're actually also looking to offer the service of finding candidates for companies. So we can use the platform ourselves too, right? If a company says, oh, I want to find somebody, but they're a little lazy, or they don't want to search, or they're not sure how to find the perfect candidate, we have everyone in the database, and we can easily search, even in the back end, find a few candidates, contact them ourselves, see if they're a fit, and then from this, we can contact the company and say, here's a short list of people, right? And this is probably where most of our business will come from, because a lot of what I just described to you, we're doing for free. But this part we'll probably charge the companies some percentage from. We have our first meetings this week, so it's all very fresh. But anyway, that's an overview. There's a lot of information for your listeners and for you, so I'm sure you have tons of questions. Happy to answer.
Yeah, so really appreciate your honest answer about how you will going to bridge the gap between the two, because people here in Pakistan consider like some kind of a scam. Yeah, if some company from US approach them, so they are reluctant to apply to it. So I think it will be a good platform. My another question would be, like, when I was going through your platform, I saw that the candidates would have to put their video or profile or some kind of a video introduction to their profile. So how it will going to help them?
Boom. Okay, Mohammed, so let's talk about that. Yeah, to answer your question, right? I want to talk about video for a second and why the whole platform experience when we first launched it was around video, because I think it will help you and everyone listening to understand why it's so important and why we advocate for video. So actually, video, as we know, because of the rise of YouTube and the rise of TikTok and all these other apps, right, is a really powerful way for people to quickly know who you are, right? And I mean, I think you probably already know this, but maybe not everybody listening can appreciate this. Most recruiters are incredibly busy. Like, they are some of the busiest people. And when I say busy, I don't necessarily mean with fun work, right? Like, I'm a product manager. Most of my work is fun. It's like in my head, thinking through problems, looking at data. Recruiters, they have to deal with people all day. So they want a fast way to judge someone, right? And when I say judge them, I don't mean that in a negative way, but I mean they need to be able to make a decision quickly. Does this person have what I need for this job? Because here's the thing. Skills are great, and having good skills is important. But every company has a different culture, has a different way of looking at candidates. Sometimes that's not necessarily super fair. My last company was a good example of this. I think we probably had too specific of expectations for candidates. But that's the reality, right? Sometimes companies just, they're the way they are. So the recruiter's job is to assess in as short a time as possible, is this candidate viable? And there is no better way for them to do that than with video, because basically the video is like a gate. And if the person makes it through the gate, then even if they don't have all the skills, if they're not perfect, the recruiter will know. Yeah, they'll know, okay, this person can work with me. Because a video is also the closest simulation you can get to actually talking to a person. So that would be my answer for you and for the audience. And, we don't actually have that many candidates who've submitted video. So if we go to our sign-up form here, this is the candidate portal, right? And we're working on updating this right now. But if we go here, what happens is people will have this choose between video and writing sample. Most people, I would say 98%, choose writing sample.
Yeah, you're right on that.
Yeah, no, and I know because I have the data in my back end, right? But I would say one of our goals over the next month, because I'm also looking through the entire talent pool right now, everyone who signed up, and personally messaging them, my goal is actually to get most of the people to switch to video, especially for more business-oriented roles like what you do in sales or someone in marketing. For developers, it's less important, right? But for a lot of these other customer-facing roles, it's critical to submit a video. But anyway, that was a long answer again. Just wanted to be thorough. Yeah.
No, I definitely love that, because video introduction would definitely be what will going to make the difference. And if a candidate want to stand out, then I think he should go for a video introduction, as the recruiter will. It will be easy for the recruiter. So my next question would be: I saw on your platform like a candidate should know what his or her are superpowers.
Yeah.
So how will a candidate know about his or her superpowers, or how can he tell the recruiter about it from this platform?
Yeah, it's a great question. Actually, thanks for asking because I'm noticing our guide. Technically, we do explain it in the guide on how to submit, but we should put a link there as well. So, uh, superpower, as I explain it in the video guides that you can find on Guide on How to Submit, I think it's under the video optional fields, right? And by the way, as I said earlier, some of this will get updated pretty soon here, but that video will still be around, just reshot for the new experience. What I want to say about superpowers now is each individual in the world, we have a specific combination of experiences and skills, and those experiences and skills allow us to deliver value in one way. We talked about value last time a lot, Mohammed. So to answer your question, a superpower is the thing you do so well that you know most people in the world, not everybody, but most people can't compete with you. And it's okay if you're not sure what that is. That's why we leave the field optional, because I know not everybody's going to be sure about that. But if you know what your superpower is, then ideally you're able to write it there. So I'll give you an example of what I think my superpower is. My superpower is that I am a relentless executor. So what I mean by that is I get stuff done, Mohammed. I work a lot, right? And I mean, I got this platform built in one night, right? So I know there are people who can do this, but there aren't that many.
That's great, man.
Yeah, so that's what I would put. And then I would talk about some times in the quantify your superpower, and we're going to change this field because right now it's just a number, but we actually need to make it a bit more flexible. I would talk about times when I've gotten stuff done very fast and continuously over a long period of time. So yeah, that's me, right? In a nutshell, that's my superpower. But everybody's going to have their own. And again, if you don't know what it is, that's totally okay. One of the things we're working on this site, which will be live probably in about 3 weeks, is a course people can take that will be totally free, that will help them to understand how to better approach their profile, including questions like this. It comes from previous course that we did in China to help people better understand themselves, right? Because I think that's a big part of getting a remote job is really knowing yourself well enough to know what you want, what you can bring to the table, and also what's going to fit your life. Anyway, that's my long answer to the superpower question.
Yeah, I guess we are both same because my superpower is also like I have a good speed in executing as I gain experience through my job. So I also get a lot of things done in very in quick time. So I think that's good. What I think about that, like a person, as you said, a person should know about himself. He should better understand himself. So if he or she understand himself, if she knows what her superpowers or what her competitiveness is, then it will be easy for them or to filter it down, like where they want to go or which remote job they want. So I think that's great. That's great. And another question I would like to ask, like obviously there are many people who want a remote job, okay, but in long run we need more and more companies to be in on that platform. Like, so how will you going to onboard those companies on your like what would be the process in the long term?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked because it's not an easy process, and I want to be transparent with your listeners, with your viewers about this, right? So the thing is that there are a lot of existing platforms where companies can go and post jobs, and I don't want to compete with those platforms, but that's where a lot of companies right now naturally go. So our first target is actually not companies, it's independent recruiters. So for example, it's people whose jobs it is to go out looking for people to then give to companies, right? Recruitment agencies. The reason why we want to work with these people is because we know that one of their key pain points is finding candidates. And, they'll pay for something like LinkedIn hiring because it's their business to go and search for candidates and find them, right? So our goal is to basically say, hey, this is free. You can use this, right? And, we want feedback from you on how we can make this better. That's the first target. The second target, and I'm really excited to share this with your viewers because I think it's a big deal. So my partner Jonas and I actually got accepted back in when was it? April, I think, to Draper Hero Program, which is a startup program from Tim Draper, the VC, the venture capitalist. Jonas is going now to San Francisco to participate in this. And the cool thing is not about raising money. I don't care that much about that because I think it's sometimes when you raise money, investors want you to go in a different direction. For example, they might want to expand beyond Pakistan. And I've been very clear, I don't want to do that at least for a long time because I think we want to focus on one talent pool and really help them before we expand. So, that aside, the great thing is there will be a lot of startup founders who want to start remote companies in this, and some of them will get money. So our second target market is actually startup founders who are early in their stage and who don't have a lot of experience with hiring, with managing, but we can help them. So we basically will onboard them, right? And then the third way in which we want to kind of get people jobs from the platform is actually to do it ourselves. And this is what I'm working on as well this week. I have 2 meetings about this, is to actually go to contact someone who said they're interested in hiring either from my LinkedIn posts or, maybe it's some other contact, and talk directly to them and say, hey, I have this talent pool. I can find somebody for you. You just tell me your specific requirements. So I've been having a few of those conversations. Anyway, the point is, short term, we're not interested in companies. We're interested in people who really need to hire. So instead of thinking about it as a whole company approach, we focus on the individuals who need to hire and then target them. And kind of, as I said, it's like 1, 2, 3, right? Step 1, recruiting agencies. Step 2, founders who are early but have some money. And then step 3 is us also doing it ourselves for all kinds of different companies. Yeah.
That's great, Alex. That's great. So my last question would be what I see is that there's a huge gap between the skills and the remote job market. So what would be your advice to the people of Pakistan who wants to get those remote jobs, like how they can develop themselves or work on themselves so that they're ready when the opportunity arises. How can they work on themselves?
I'm glad you asked. So let's actually go and look at the platform. All right. So I'm logged in right now, and I'm just going to go directly to search talent. And in doing this, we're a few people here, no names.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. I just want people to see a little bit of what's going on here, right? So the first thing I would say is it goes back to what we talked about in our last podcast and what essentially we have touched on again today. And that is, yes, skills matter, but positioning matters more. And I want this to be very clear to your audience. I've worked at some great remote companies now, and one of the things that I've realized is, especially in the remote startup scene, which is what I'm most familiar with, people want you to have skills, yes. But more important than skills is 2 things. 1, your network, who you know and kind of what you've added value in with those people. And 2, your brand. What is the package of you that you're sending out into the world, right? So, let's take a look at some of these profiles, and I'll give you an example of what I mean. No disrespect to this person. I have no doubt if they're a data engineer, they're pretty smart. But but this picture here is very interesting choice, right? Because, he might have had 2 years of experience, but he's on his...
It shows remote life.
It shows remote life, which is great, but I'm not sure if I were hiring someone, I would right away jump to him or to him. These two photos here, they're a little bit more professional. So this is what I'm talking about when I talk about like brand. It's we want to teach people, and this is another thing we'll be working on. I mentioned this first course, getting to know yourself, but we'll be working on both in the content that I produce and webinars that we'll be running in the next couple months. I don't want to put a date on that yet because it's too early, but also in a course that I'm creating that we ran before in China on really getting clear on your personal brand and how you package yourself on LinkedIn, of course, because we're not the only platform out there, right? There's others. And also, here on Pak Talent or Remote Pakistan, as it's called right now, right? This guy right here, let's see, Taha. Cool. Yeah, as you can see, the platform, we're working on the profile this week because there's still a little bit of work to be done. But Taha here, what I really like about him is that he provided a professional picture, and he also provided like very clear what he wanted to do, right? React.js, UI, and WordPress. Easy. So if I'm looking for him, I'll be able to find him very easily. But that's one thing we're going to be doing, basically, in a nutshell, helping people with branding. The second thing we'll be doing, Mohammed, and this is, you ask about how to bridge remote skills gap so people can be ready. I think creating an independent project is really important, right? Really important. So if we go back just a second to Pak Talent, right, to this client portal for candidates, and we click on the optional fields, and we come down here to portfolio. Now, oftentimes we think that portfolio only really means something like if you're a developer, you can put GitHub, or designer or content creator, you have your posts. But anybody in any profession can have a portfolio. So for example, you work in sales, right? So you could just have a very simple website where you talked about your wins, right? I closed this client and this is how I did it. Or I did this and this is how I did it. Because I just wrote a post yesterday on my newsletter where I talked with people about the idea, this really important idea. Companies will say, we need you to have 2 years of experience. It's a lie. But do you know why they do that? I'm curious if you have any thoughts on why they do that.
No, I don't have any idea about
It's a filter, okay? It's a filter because the thing is,
filter down.
yeah, it's actually experience tells the company that when you join, you will be able to add value immediately because you've already done it before. But the truth is that if you can prove to them some other way that you'll add value, right? If you can show them a project, or if you can add value to them through the way you interact with them, through the way you network, there's no reason that you need to have those 2 years of experience. Now, there are some positions where you really do need experience, like if it says team lead, or if it says like, VP, you need experience, right? No, I don't know many people can walk into those roles with zero experience and do well. But if it's an entry level role, or like a even a mid role, like 2 years, 3 years, there are things you can do. And we're at time, so I don't want to keep going on and on. But I've written several pieces on this. I'll keep writing about it. And if people join the community too, right, which is, I can send you the link after this. We have a very thriving community. Hold on. Here, you can see it. Here's Pak Talent community, right? You can't see it, but the people who are watching the recording will be able to. Let me just show you quickly. It's our Pak Talent community, right? If you join this community, I share jobs, but I also share my newsletter and I share content. This is where it's all happening. We have a very active channel right now with lots of stuff. I also do resume review, and here I'm going to be sharing.
That's great, man.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing when I tell people there's more than the platform, I really mean it, right? There's lots of pieces to this puzzle that are coming together. But I just saw that I have someone in my waiting room. So, Mohammed, I think we should probably wrap up. But this was great. I hope it was helpful for you too.
Yeah, sure. It was a great podcast, and I want to communicate with my audience that we will be doing this podcast to educate the people and get them help in good jobs, so they and also know that what they really want. So it was great conversation with you, man. It was great.
It was. So, Mohammed, thank you so much, man. I will speak with you on Friday. Yeah. And I'm
Yeah,
looking forward to doing the next one of these very, very soon. So, man, have a great
same
rest
here,
of your
buddy.
day. Yeah, good. I'm going to stop the recording.